Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our irregularly scheduled meeting of Municipal Council. We generally meet on the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. However, this month, due to holidays, we've bumped our entire meeting schedule. So today is our first council meeting of the month. We have another council meeting and public hearing on Thursday. And our committee of the whole meeting, rather than being on the third Tuesday of this month, will actually be on the 4th on January 23rd. So thank you for your patience as we adjust the schedule. So I'm Deputy Mayor Emily Lutz. Welcome to those in council chambers and online. Today's Tuesday, January 9th, 6 p.m. And at this point, I will take a roll call. For those new to chambers this morning, when we call a motion or I ask councilors to indicate on their electronic voting pads whether or not they're present or not, there's a 10-second delay between when I call for the vote and when the vote is registered. So we have 6 councilors with us today, and actually we don't. We have 7. So. And also the mayor. I'll get to you in a moment, Peter. I'm sorry. Hold on. I know you're with us. I'm getting there. Councillor Harding is present. And Mayor Matart is also present. Oh, Councillor Davison's also present. Okay. So we're all present. Mayor Matart, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you. Welcome back to this session of council, albeit virtually. We're very pleased to hear your voice again. So we are all present with the exception of Councillor Granger, who is ill this evening. So I look at this point to a motion to excuse Councillor Granger, moved by Councillor Burgess, seconded by Councillor Killam. All those in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion. Thank you. And Mayor Matart, how do you vote?
In favor.
In favor. Thank you very much. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Before we move on to approve our agenda, you'll note that our Deputy CIO has moved to the Horseshoe today. Welcome, Rob, to the front of the room. And that's because we've made room at our director's table as our new Director of Environmental Services and Climate Resilience, Zobia Jaweed, has joined our team as Director of Environmental Services and Climate Resilience. And so she's new, but not super, super new because she joined on November 20th, but it's her first time in person. So we welcome you to council chambers tonight and to the team here at the municipality. And I'm going to read a little bit about you, if that's okay with you. Zobia brings a wealth of experience in senior leadership and business development, with a proven track record in establishing partnerships for multifaceted initiatives involving water, wastewater, energy systems, environmental sustainability, governance, policy development, climate change, and decision support tools. Zobia's expertise extends to training water/wastewater operators and successfully troubleshooting and optimizing municipal water and wastewater systems. Zobia holds a Master of Civil Engineering degree from the University of Toronto, a PhD from McMaster University, a postdoctoral fellowship jointly held at the University of Waterloo and McMaster University, an executive management program from McMaster University, and an MBA from Wilfrid Laurier University. We're very excited to have Zobia on our team, and a warm welcome to you, Zobia. Okay, I think that is all of the housekeeping that I had to do prior to starting. Councillor Burgess, did you have anything at this point?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to send along thoughts to the town of Kemptville tonight. They are having their renaming ceremony for their road this evening. I had intended to skip over before I came here, but I didn't have a chance to, so just wanted to say that we are thinking of them, and congratulations on this change and towards reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burgess. At this point, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda, which you should all have. Councillor Killam, seconded by Councillor Harding. Thank you very much. Any additions, deletions, comments on the agenda before I call for a motion? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise of the agenda as presented, please vote now. Mayor Matart, how do you vote?
Vote aye, thank you.
Aye, okay. The motion carries unanimously, and the agenda is thus approved. At this point in time, I'd look for members of council to disclose any conflict of interest issues that they may have at this time regarding any of the items on the approved agenda. See none coming forward, so we'll move to item 4, approval of minutes of the December 5th, 2023 council meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented, barring any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor Burgess, seconded by Councillor Allen. Thank you very much. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor Matart. The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Is there any business arising from our last council meeting on December 5th? Any business? Seeing none, we will move to the Planning Advisory Committee recommendations from the December 12th meeting of the PAC, and I'll look to Councillor Armstrong to present those recommendations. Councillor Armstrong, you have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The first item we have is that Municipal Council give first reading to and approve a public hearing for the amendments to the text of the land use bylaw to change the minimum lot area and lot frontage requirements for semi-detached dwellings within the county residential A4 zone as described in Appendix A of the report dated December 12, 2023. I so move.
I have a seconder of the motion, seconded by Councillor Davison. And for anyone wondering, the PAC minutes and agendas and reports can all be found on our website under agendas and minutes, in case you're looking for additional context for this item. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this motion? I see no discussion. All in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor Matart. Thank you. Back to you, Councillor Armstrong, for the second motion.
That Municipal Council give first reading to and hold a public hearing regarding the draft development incentive policies contained in Appendix B of the report dated December 12, 2023. I so move.
The seconder of the motion, Councillor Burgess. Any discussion on the motion? And there's quite, I believe, a lengthy sort of report attached to that. So if folks haven't read it, I encourage you to. Members of the public, that is. Anything else before call the question? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Council. Finally, next public hearing dates.
A public hearing, as the Deputy Mayor already pointed out, there's a public hearing followed by a special council meeting scheduled for this Thursday, January 11th, 2024, 6 p.m. in these chambers. The agenda package is online for anyone who's interested. And the next regular public hearing will be held Tuesday, February the 6th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong, for those presentations. That concludes item 6, Planning Advisory Committee recommendations. We're moving to item 7, Proclamation of African Heritage Month 2024. We have Grayson Parker with us, who's one of our diversity specialists, and welcome to council this evening. Grayson, go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for having me tonight. It's almost a year now to the day that you all saw me for the first time. So glad to be back with the proclamation request for African Heritage Month. As was said, my name is Grayson Parker. I am one of the diversity specialists. So the origin of this request comes from the November 23rd, 2021 memo from African Nova Scotian Affairs, as well as the Strategy for Belonging and the Proclamations Policy COM-02-003. The intent today is to present the proclamation request to Municipal Council for adoption in accordance with the municipality's proclamation policy COM-02-003. Section 4.1 of the proclamation policy states, it is the policy of It is the policy of council to consider requests and to proclaim certain causes when such proclamation positively impacts the community. Throughout Canada, Black History Month has been celebrated since 1950, becoming officially declared as Black History Month in 2008 by the Canadian Senate. In Nova Scotia, our unique and rich African Nova Scotian heritage led to a name change to African Heritage Month in 1996. February 2024 marks the 10th and final year of the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. The theme for 2024 is Our Smiles, Our Joy, Our Resilience as African Nova Scotians, and focuses on recognizing the perseverance of people of African descent across Nova Scotia. African Nova Scotian Affairs began offering the inaugural reading of the African Heritage Month Proclamation in the Red Chambers in Province House, Nova Scotia in 2004, and have been working continuously to expand awareness of African Nova Scotian Heritage Month throughout Nova Scotia. Proclaiming African Heritage Month across the municipality of the County of Kings is in congruence with the implementation plan of the municipality's strategy for belonging, particularly with respect to actions utilizing the African diaspora, anti-Black racism lens, and reparations lens. Further, the proclamation assists in strengthening relationships between the municipality and diverse communities while building public trust, awareness, and engagement through celebrating over 4 centuries of contributions from the African diaspora, including historic Black communities like Gibson Woods and Pine Woods, as well as newcomers to the region. Thus, it moves us toward the vision of being a community of communities where all people belong. There are no financial implications, and for strategic plan alignment, this aligns with the Strong Communities pillar and is aligned with the strategy for belonging. For implementation, we plan to publish the proclamation to the municipality's website and social media platforms and have an official reading of the proclamation at our African Heritage Month proclamation event on February 1st, 2024. For engagement throughout African Heritage Month, we are going to have community events. An alternative is that council may opt not to proclaim February as African Heritage Month. And my recommendation is that Municipal Council proclaim February 2024 as African Heritage Month in the municipality of the County of Kings.
Thank you, Grayson. Questions this evening? I just have one. Did you wish for council to RSVP to the February 1st proclamation event so that you know who's attending?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, RSVPs are not required, but they are looked upon nicely.
Welcome.
If you would let me know, that would be great.
Welcomed. You're welcome to RSVP to Grayson ASAP. Thank you very much for your presentation. Anything further from council tonight? Seeing none, I'd have a motion to proclaim February 2024 to be African Heritage Month in the municipality of the County of Kings, moved by Councillor Burgess, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, and thank you, Grayson, for all your work. At this point, we'll move to item 8, Engineering and Public Works Services. Item A is Policy EPW 04016, Crosswalk Prioritization and Installation. Adoption. We did review this item at the December 5th council meeting, so this is the final step towards approval. The motion reads that Municipal Council adopt Policy EPW-04-016, Crosswalk Prioritization and Installation as attached to the January 9th, 2024 councilor agenda. A motion. Moved by Councillor Hurdle, seconded by Councillor Davison. Thank you very much. Any discussion on this policy at this point? Recognizing we have had lots of time to discuss it, lest anyone think we have not. All right. Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next, we have item B, Chapel Road Canning Infrastructure Design. Not the first time this item's come to Council. However, we do have some additional information brought to us this evening by Brad Kerrigan, the Director of Engineering and Public Works Services. So welcome to Council tonight. Okay. Get your, oh, you probably don't want your mic on yet. All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Yanni. It's only been up here one other time besides today, so thank you very much. Today I'm here with a presentation and request for decision to approve additional design and engineering costs for the Chapel Road canning infrastructure project. This project construction is federally supported with ICIP funding, which is Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program funding, which has been approved for the village of Canning. Infrastructure renewal includes water, sewer, storm, and sidewalk. Road is a provincial J-class road and would only be patch paved as part of this construction project. This is being brought to you today to try and improve the design and engineering costs so that we have a plan and a project shovel ready for April 2024. I've got a picture of Chapel Road in Canning for people to see. It involves 1.3 kilometers of infrastructure, including sidewalk from Main Street to Summer Street, as well as sewer and water and stormwater upgrades for the extent of the road. Project background: capital project was identified and design started way back in 2018. ICIP funding was pursued by the Village of Canning from the years 2018 through to 2023. Design revisions were made in 2022-23 to revise the scope and shorten the amount of sidewalk to be done. ICIP funding was finally approved in 2023, and just of note, the Village of Canning has already reviewed the latest design change order and has given their approval to proceed with the design portion of this project. Rationale for design revisions. Staff met with the provincial authority, the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works, the old Department of Transportation, to just discuss concerns with the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is the road is very narrow, and adding a sidewalk on that road, the provincial authority didn't feel it was feasible. So staff and I met with the provincial authority and made some concessions. So what we're looking to do is concession was made by the municipality to install part of the sidewalk behind the utility poles for half the project, and another further concession was made by Department of Public Works in our favor to reduce the width of the grass median between the roadway and sidewalk, so that we're not infringing and getting off the right-of-way too far. Actually still inside the Department of Public Works right-of-way, but not having to go into people's lawns and that such as far. And as I said, the village also revised their project scope to eliminate a great deal of the sidewalk from Summer Street to Route 358 or North Avenue. Project financial summary. So the design cost to date back in 2018-19, there was an original design contract, which was $18,238. Our share of 50% of that was netted out at $9,510. In 2022-23, there was again another design revision. Our share of that was $7,639, and this proposed revision change order, our share would be a net $6,674. It should also be noted that in the capital budget for this year, 2023-24, there was $50,000 in engineering and design allocated for this project. So this, as per procurement policy, section 17.3A, it states that in the case of a contract up to the value of $100,000, any change order that has any change order that would exceed $10,000 needs to be approved by council before we can proceed. And while this change order does not exceed $10,000, the cumulative value of the two change orders would exceed $10,000, so we felt it was appropriate to bring to council to have formal approval. That's why we're here, why I'm here today. So as in your package, the recommendation being made to council is that municipal council approve additional costs for design and engineering of the Chapel Road Canning Infrastructure Upgrades Project in the amount of $6,400 plus applicable taxes, 50% share of $12,800 fee to Atkins Realis for the revision of drawings and specifications. Through you, Deputy Mayor, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thanks, Brad. Any questions at this point in time? Councillor Armstrong.
This doesn't necessarily have to do with the motion. I'm not against this particular motion, but you kept making reference to stormwater, and I didn't think that stormwater was the responsibility of the municipality. I thought that was a provincial requirement.
It's part of the project, so when we put curb and gutter into the project, then we have to divert the stormwater away. It isn't necessarily a County of Kings responsibility, but it's part of the project costs.
So we're not talking pipes, we're just talking about a way of diverting the waters, maybe through slope or...
It would be through the gutter, would be to catch the water in a catch basin, and then outflow from there underneath the sidewalk, typically to a drainage corridor, a ditch that's already in place.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions? I have one, if council will permit. The sidewalk, I was a bit confused. So the village, is it zero-sum sidewalk? Like, are we losing sidewalk in this project?
So there's no sidewalk, sorry, through you, Deputy Mayor. There's currently no sidewalk on the street. So the original plan was to put sidewalk all the way from Main Street, extending all the way to Route 358. And with the cost, I believe, it was before my time, but I believe that the Village of Canning said we don't need sidewalk past Summer Street at this time. So they reduced the scope. In the scope, the sidewalk would only go from Main Street up to Summer Street.
Perfect, thank you. I'd also be curious to know if this section is referenced in the active transportation plan, but I can find that out if you don't have that information. I get the plan handy.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. I could get back to you.
It's okay, that's all good. Councillor Allen, go ahead.
Just one question. You mentioned redirecting stormwater. Does it go through the wastewater treatment plant or not?
Sorry, not for this project.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
No, it's local outflow through existing drainage corridors that are already in place.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Any further questions of clarification? Mayor Matart, feel free to jump in if you have any.
Well, it had occurred to me, it's not pertinent, but if you would, not pertinent to the recommendation, but if you permit me,
Yes, absolutely.
one would be interested in whether or not the people of Canning who live above where the sidewalk is going to stop would be interested in, and perhaps this is a village citizen matter, a village ratepayer matter, and whether they'd be interested in donating some of their frontage toward a sidewalk in order to establish active transportation along their road. But that's a by the by. I just wanted to get it on in the event that somebody might want to carry that recommendation forward to the village commission.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a good point.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I can tell you that when we looked at the project, we did look at the feasibility of a sidewalk there, and the sidewalk can certainly go to Route 358 if it somebody chooses to extend that at a later date.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. I have no further lights. At this point, I would entertain a motion that reads that Municipal Council approve additional costs for design and engineering of the Chapel Road Canning Infrastructure Upgrades Project in the amount of $6,400 plus applicable taxes, which is a 50% share of a $12,800 fee, to Atkins Realis for the revision of drawings and specifications. Moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by Councillor Davison. Any discussion? Debate? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please indicate in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Council. At this point, we are on to item 9, financial services. Item A, amendments to policy FIN-05-007, fire and recreation area rates adoption. Again, the notice for this policy amendment was provided and discussed on December 5th at our last council meeting. So if you wish to listen to that discussion or view the presentation, it's online on YouTube even. You can watch us there. Any questions about this before we look for a motion? Seeing none, the motion reads that Municipal Council adopt amendments to policy FIN-05-007, fire and recreation area rates, as attached to the January 9th, 2024 Council agenda. We have a mover of the motion, Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Allen. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, a motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Next is item 10, recommendations from Committee of the Whole. Similar to previous items, we have discussed this in the past, however, not on December 5th at Council, but on December 19th at Committee of the Whole, where we received a presentation and had discussion. This is regarding street lighting, which is a long-awaited change. So at this point, I would look for a motion that we give first reading to amendments to Bylaw 45, street lighting, as attached to the January 9th, 2024 Council agenda. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Killam. Discussion on the street lighting bylaw amendments. Seeing none, all in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Harding, how do you vote?
Computer quit.
Your computer quit. Okay. Yes, you vote yay. Okay. We'll make that noted. Thank you so much. The motion carries unanimously with all in favor. All right, item 11 is recommendation from Police Service Advisory Committee from the meeting held December 20th, 2023. And at this point, I would look to Councillor Hurdle for a brief description of this item.
Certainly. Let me just pull open that section. I'm scrolling to it. I'll go based on my recollection as well. Essentially, the staff sergeant is looking for input of community concerns and areas of interest that council may have, or he asked the committee, but I wanted to make sure council was aware and able to input on this as well. Any areas of concern and advisement that we might give for policing concerns for this upcoming year.
Okay. Would you like to read the motion?
Yes.
Or move the motion?
Certainly. And the motion reads that council direct the chief administrative officer to liaison with the RCMP to create content for the municipal media platforms that will be published frequently on a monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly basis. I so move, and I should note I'm talking about I was speaking on a different item, but this is in addition to.
Right, okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? Seconded by Councillor Killam. At this point, we're in discussion. Councillor Armstrong. In debate.
I'm not really, and I probably should have got this in before we made the motion, but I'm not really understanding what kind of content we're talking about here that you want to put on the municipal media platforms. Is it information? Is it asking for information? Is it telling us what the RCMP is doing? What exactly are we talking about, if the Deputy Mayor will allow?
Absolutely. Councillor Hurdle, you want to address?
Certainly. We're basically looking for any kind of points of notice from the RCMP. So if there's any kind of local fraud or crime that may be happening, or anything that should be, the public should be more aware of. Right now, you kind of can receive notifications through social media from the RCMP, but this should be like broader level advice. I imagine much like the advice we've received from the REMO on different emergency preparedness plans we can adopt, this would be more from the RCMP perspective.
Okay, I do have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
The last little bit of this seems to be just a little willy-nilly, that it be published frequently on a monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly basis. It sort of leaves it a little open-ended as to, like, if we're going to make an effort to publish content, is it as needed, or is it just going to be something, like, I don't understand why all the options are there. I'd rather see it say published frequently, period, or published on a monthly basis, period. Basically, I just was kind of hoping we'd pick one.
Any rationale for the wording of the motion, Kathleen?
I think I'd be open to a friendly amendment to say published frequently, if that's being put out there.
Councillor Armstrong, do you wish to make the friendly?
Yeah, I think it's way too open-ended. It's with all of these options here, it could not happen. It might not happen at all. You know, if we're thinking, well, or even be published on an as-needed basis. You know, if Mr. Stovall from Remo decides that he needs to put something online, he puts it on as needed. And maybe that's what we should be looking at here, that will be published on an as-needed basis.
Okay, that sounds good.
Absolutely.
Just keep shortens our motion right up. Councillor Hurdle as the mover accepts it as a friendly. The seconder, I forget who seconded it, but Councillor Kilholm, he remembers, and he says yes. So I think we're good, and published on an as-needed basis, although that probably all means the same. Any further debate, questions, conversation? It's going to be a real short meeting. Just trying to drag it out a little. Just kidding. All right. At this moment, then, I would call the question. All in favor or otherwise of the motion as friendly amended, please vote now.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Council. At this point, we're on item 12, Board and Committee reports. We didn't receive any written reports. There's also sort of a lack of many committee meetings in December, which may be why, but it was my New Year's resolution to get my written reports in a timelier manner. So I would encourage all of us to make that a New Year's resolution. Are there any verbal reports to present this evening? And you'll note there is a list attached to the agenda package. Any verbal reports to bring? Okay. Oh, Councillor Hurdle, go ahead.
I'll just speak to what I was previously confusing with our last item, and it's on the Police Services Advisory Committee, we were asked for policing objectives from the municipality and local policing concerns that we can advise the staff sergeant and our CMP on where we would like our focus to be, or at least at the input that we can provide to them. We can't direct them, but obviously we can give them advice, and they are willing to work with us. So if council has any input on that, we can send them through council, or we could direct it through the next Police Advisory Committee meeting. However, if there's any input, just show up or let me know. Thank you.
Okay. Any policing objectives / public safety issues that may be relevant to the Police Service Advisory Committee, please forward to Councillor Hurdle, and he will send them along. Am I correct in saying that, Councillor?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. Any further committee of council reports? Okay. Seeing none. Mayor Martart, you coughed. Were you trying to get in there, or were you just
No,
coughing?
that was strictly a physiological thing.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just have a motion to receive the committee reports. Moved by Councillor Burgess, seconded by Councillor Allen. Okay. All in favor, or otherwise, please signify now.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. At this point in time, we're on the correspondence section of our agenda. We have 3 items of correspondence. The first is from Communities in Bloom, which is a nonprofit Canadian organization committed to fostering civic pride, environmental responsibility, and beautification through community engagement and the challenge of friendly competition. So I encourage you to read that. It's inviting us to participate in their annual event and to register. The second item is from the Evangeline Club, addressing the presentation that they gave to council in November at Committee of the Whole, and encouraging us to advocate in our own capacities to other levels of government for a more long-term sustainable funding solution. So I believe the chair of the board, Dr. Carolyn Campbell, communicated to us that they would like our support. So in your own capacities, if you are able to, that is the request from them. And finally, and there's lots of good information there for people in our own communities who may be facing various challenges that the Evangeline Club may be able to support. So I encourage you to look at that. And the final, very close to my heart as I bring this up on a regular basis, the new funding formula discussions for the library system. Some excellent information contained in that letter from Janet Ness, the board chair of AVRL. Some really significant funding challenges facing our libraries, some significant underfunding over a long period of time. So again, in your conversations with other levels of government, if you would like to or have the ability to raise funding for libraries, I encourage you, and Janet, chair of the board, also encourages you to do that, because more and more they are becoming essential and far beyond just books, as we all know. So really encourage you to give that letter a good read and push for better funding. At this point, we're on other business, item 14. Is there any other business to come? Oh, thank you, Yanni. At this point, we're at the receiving the correspondence as attached to the January 9th, 2024 agenda for information part of the meeting. Do I have a mover of the motion? Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Burgess. Thank you. All in favor or otherwise, please signify in the usual fashion.
Aye.
And I should note that the board and committee reports motion was approved unanimously. Expect similar result for the correspondence. It's approved unanimously. Now, is there any other business to come before the meeting this evening? Are there any comments from the public this evening? No? Okay. Oh, just observing. No pressure, although you're very welcome. You have 5 minutes. Okay. Thanks for being with us. And I've been advised, Councillor Harding has some other business.
This is to do with, nothing to do with here, but we had a homeless tent fire this morning, 5 o'clock in Berwick. A young lady, I think she had a few burns on her. I haven't heard too much about it, but the tent burned up and because trying to stay warm. So I just want everybody to know that there's people out there living in tents, and we'll try to do as much as we can to help out these people, because no fault of their own, a lot of times they're out there in these tents and it's getting cold out. So I just want to let everybody know that there is things going on right around us. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you, Councillor. That's important. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything further from Council? Okay. The CIO has informed me we do not have a closed session this evening. The content of that will be deferred until Thursday. And while this was a short meeting, it did save us from discussing all of these things on Thursday, which is anticipated to be a longer meeting. So it's nice to break breaks up our week a little bit and ensures we don't have those incredibly long meetings. And also, we kept it short for Mayor Matart for his first meeting back, just for you, Mayor. So as we have no closed session, at this point, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Burgess. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor otherwise of the motion to adjourn. As always, thank you, Council, for your input this evening, and thank you, staff, for your hard work. Thank you, Zobia, for joining us, and thank you to anyone who attended or listened in this morning, or this evening. We appreciate your presence and your attention. All right, have a great evening, everyone. We are adjourned.
I was there just to push him once.
Danny, for the record, I vote yay.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mayor. You are registered as a yay on the motion to adjourn. Thank you for coming, and we miss you dearly, so
pleasure.
we can't wait for
Nice to be with you.
for you to be back.